What's going on, Patty? How are you?
I'm doing great. Great. How are you?
I'm good. This is my second ever show on this podcast. Trying to find where I could sit, but what this show's going to be about? It's called taking the reins, taking control of your life, your business, your health, your mindset, your everything. Um, maybe for a couple minutes, just kind of introduce yourself, what you do, a little bit about your story.
Yeah, you got it.
You ready to go? We're live.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
You want to tell people about you a little bit?
For sure. Yeah. So, my name is Patti Zorr, and I am the marketing strategist for authors who want a best selling book launch and a book launch where they want to make money with their book. So, I say with their book because book sales alone, you're just not going to make enough money to really scale your business. And when it comes to, authors and authors launching their books, well, the average author sells about 20 books a month. And if they're publishing through something like Amazon KDP, you're probably making around $5 a book. So assuming you sell, $20 a month and you're making $5 a book, that's like $1,200 a year. So it's just not a ton of dough, right?
That's terrible.
Yeah. So what I do, or what I love to do, is really help authors see their books as a product within their business. And it really is the bottom of their value ladder. And it's a tool that can be used to really monetize and pull readers further up your value ladder so that you can start to sell them other products and services you offer in your business. Therefore, really turning your book into a real sales asset, almost like a lead magnet in a way for your business.
It's interesting. I, I've been approached a couple times about writing a book. I know it's coming. The process. It doesn't get any easier, right? It's like it's part of me. I heard this quote from John Maxwell. He said the problem with writing a book is at the moment that you write it, you go back and reread it, and the information, you already have a new thought, right? And that's why you keep seeing updated versions and everything. And so, part of what we're going to talk about, part of what you bring to the table for the authors is how to keep that book living over and over again. And that's kind of what you're alluding to right now, right?
Yeah. So once you have a book, you're always marketing your book, right? It just never goes away. And the really cool thing is that books have a really long shelf life. We don't throw books away. It almost feels like blasphemous or wasteful, right? I mean, we really treasure books. They live on our coffee tables. If we're done reading them, we'll give them to a friend, we'll donate them to a library. Little free libraries are popping up in neighborhoods all over the place. I'm there all the time, putting books in, taking books out. So that's kind of the cool thing is once you have a book, it's kind of out there forever and it could end up almost anywhere in the world. And the really cool thing too is, I'm going to say like thanks to COVID, but books are starting to become immersive now because we all got used to learning how to use a QR code. And what I'm telling my authors is, while you're writing your book, think about how you can drop a QR code in there and then fan gate it so you can start to identify who your readers are because you just never know where your book is going to end up.
You don't. And, kind of the thing that's exciting to me is like, I really love buying a book for somebody, like, especially my friends' kids. Like, that's my favorite thing. It's like, throw your toys away, read this book, like Rich Kid, Poor Kid, the kid's book by Robert Kiyosaki. And what, as you see it, what do you think? Because I truly believe that everybody has a book in them. I really do. What do you think is some of the things that maybe an author or somebody that's going to write a book is not thinking about that they're missing, that you're seeing as kind of stuff that's moving forward that could possibly be an outlet for them to share their story?
Yeah. So, as I just mentioned, books are starting to become a more immersive, or there's an opportunity for them to become more immersive because of QR codes. And the thing is that when we read a book and we read a really great book, now we're left to our own devices to then take that next step, right? And this is in the nonfiction space, and we can
Mhm.
talk fiction a little bit too. But you read a really great self-help book, but we get distracted. We've got kids, we've got families, we've got jobs, what other stressors, and now like we're left to go take that knowledge we just learned and apply it. And the really cool thing now with by dropping a QR code into your book is that now you have an opportunity to connect more intimately with your reader. So I always tell my authors, lead with value first. Let people experience you. And so perhaps you wrote a chapter and maybe it was a chapter on mindset, for example. Why not at the end of that chapter or somewhere inside there, drop a QR code, you fan gate it, meaning that the person needs to opt in. So now you've identified who your readers are,
Mhm.
but now they get access to perhaps a very special 10-minute meditation. Maybe it's a meditation on, decision making.
Mhm.
So now you're giving them that tool instead of saying, go look up this meditation or find a meditation on decision making. Just give it to them, give them direct access right then and there. And then, or really walk them through the steps or the tools that you're explaining within the chapter within your book. And again, just help that reader really achieve that overall transformation, right? Because if they have that transformation, and it's because of your book and because of extra value you gave to them, they're going to go out and they're going to tell everybody, oh my gosh, you have to get this book, right? Not only do you get the book, but the author dropped in all these QR codes and you get access to all these tools. And it's so much more than a book, right? It's you created this really great experience for them. So it's becoming interactive.
Well, it's interesting. Not even in the same kind of premise. We put a financial plan together for one of our businesses, and my business partner at the end of it, instead of like, I mean, it was already long, to read, but instead of it like going on and on, he did a QR code for the financial findings that he found, and we thought that was just like a cool way to kind of like take it to the next step, right? Because then you're actually finding out if that person's going to go do the mile, right, and stuff like that. And I think it's so interesting. And I knew you and I have talked about NFT for authors, and we're working on some stuff right now. And I'm just curious. I know that you're studying as much as you can. You're all excited about it. Just kind of your early thoughts on kind of that space and what you think um, you could see for authors moving forward.
Yeah. So I'm totally fascinated by NFTs, right? And they're still so new and there's so much to learn, of course. Um, and so again, one of the things, with authors, as we were talking about earlier before, nothing has a shelf life quite like a book. But what's tough for authors, a couple things. One, it's hard to identify who your readers are because you could just send people right to Amazon, right, to buy your book as you're marketing your book and talking about it. Well, people go to Amazon and buy your book, but as an author, you still have no idea who bought your book. So kind of going back to the QR code and having people opt in, you've now identified who your readers are so that you can continue to serve them, nurture them, and then upsell them to other products and services. Same thing too, books get passed around. Somebody's consuming your content, right? 200 to 300 pages of content, which is amazing. But how do you know who they are? So again, we talked about like dropping that QR code and fan gating it. So you now know who that person is. But what's really interesting about NFTs is now it's taking it to a whole other level. And what I'm seeing, again, because books do get passed around, right? The authors don't really get anything from that, right? There's no royalties when your book gets passed around, when it gets passed along. Well, what if there was an NFT attached to it that had access to a really special course or a really special workshop or a really special training? You can take a page out of Gary's V book, right? Depending on the timing, where he gave away tickets to his live event. Now that's Gary Vee, obviously, and his influence is a lot different, but why couldn't you attach a course to that NFT that, again, really complements the book and really helps hold the reader's hand and takes them, on that next level so they truly can achieve that transformation that you talked about in your book? So that's in the nonfiction space. I think in the fiction space, what could be really interesting is there's a ton of fiction writers out there and they have a cult following almost. And so what if, there's things like artwork, right? If it's like limited edition artwork of the cover, or maybe each chapter has like limited edition artwork attached to it. But something else I think that's interesting is, what if there was a character in the book and this character you're finding out is a really popular character? Why couldn't you do like a special backstory on this character and let your fans go deeper, right? But in order to get it, they have to get it through your NFT. And maybe the character alone, there's not enough to write a whole book on it, but perhaps it's a 20-page ebook or mini book, right? Where your readers can now go deeper into this character and how they came to be, the way that they were. So I think there's all kinds of fun things you could do as a fiction author and for attaching NFTs to your book.
I mean, what you're basically doing is if somebody buys a book off Amazon, I mean, you don't really know who they are. If they leave a review, maybe, but you still don't have information. And so, basically, the genesis behind, NFTs and Web 3.0 is you're basically getting your community back, where you could do giveaways, you could do, so many things, mastermind retreats, you could, like you mentioned. And I think that's why it's so exciting for me. Because basically, if you're a writer, you are basically a small business owner. Like that is a business, the book, right? And so, this is basically getting back to that kind of space where you can, engage with your audience, which would then in turn will allow you to grow what you're writing or selling or whatever.
Yeah, and how fun too to have this community of fans where maybe you're kind of stuck on what to do with the character or where to go, and maybe this community gets to actually give some insight or some input, right? Ask them to use their imagination, and maybe it sparks an idea in you that then sends you off on this writing tangent. And now your community is excited because they got a chance to either like give their say or vote. So you can bet that when that next book comes out, they can't wait to read it because you've kind of teased them along the way or brought them along the process, or perhaps even they contributed towards a part of it. And I don't know, maybe even you make them like their own special NFT, right? They get to become a part of the artwork.
No, I love that. And, from your point of view, just from a mindset and a business point of view, what do you think are, because you're a marketing strategist, what do you think is the biggest kind of mistakes, for lack of a better word, that you're seeing with small business owners or just as people in general that have a brand, of just maybe items they're not focused on that they should be focused on?
Yeah. So when I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, I think one thing that they have missing is what I like to call their signature offer. And what I mean by that is just one specific thing where if they're talking to anybody and somebody says, how can I go further with you? Or how can I do that next thing with you? That you've got that product ready to go and ready to share with them. And what happens is a lot of times, like we have a website, which is great. And in fact, I was just talking to an author who's getting ready to launch a book. And he's like, yeah, I dropped a QR code, but I'm sending them to my website. And I said, look, websites are great. I have a website, but they're really more like a brochure. I said, so what's going to happen is people are going to scan the QR code because we're just curious and we want to see what's behind it, right? We're going to scan it and then we're going to get to your website. And then what? Maybe you have a call to action on there, but we as consumers, we need to be told what to do. What do you want me to do next? And, this is to say like your website is actually, built for the user and you've got one call to action on there. But what I recommend is just creating that signature offer. It's one product, one service, one offer that represents your core values. Perhaps it repels people you don't want to do business with. So maybe it's at a certain price point because you don't want to work with anybody who can't afford that particular price point. And it's just this one item. If you're a service-based business, if you're a product-based business, but it's the one place where you can send anybody and everybody. If they want to know more about what it is, what you do, or buy from you, this is it. It's your signature offer. So that would be my recommendation, even to do that before you build a website. And I can talk about when I first went into business for myself, I actually came from the corporate world. I was a digital marketing manager for a company in the consumer goods space. And as I was preparing to leave as a digital marketer, I went out and built a website because that's what we do, right? And I really wished that instead someone had said, you know what? A website's great. Go ahead and, add that to your to-do list, but don't do that first. The first thing you want to build is that digital offer, something that describes your services that you can share with anyone and everyone. And so, it took me a while to figure that out, and I've since done that. But yeah, that would be my advice: is let the website come later, build that signature offer first.
Yeah, it's like, get out of my meetings, Patti, because I'm speaking at my first event ever. We just found out that the amount of people that I thought were going to be there are like 30 times more than that. And he was like, my suggestion would be you have something to trap emails. And so we have something, but we're gonna make it better, and we're gonna brand it the way that my new branding is, and then we're going to attach a landing page to it. Like all these things, right? And it's just like, I'm collecting and connecting with as many people as I can, but I'm only one person. And so just having that kind of bank of people, because, not to like get crazy or anything, but I'm definitely concerned, always about building my real estate on other people's platforms, meaning Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. They can change whatever they want just like that. My Facebook views went from 300 to 1, 2. And so like, it's just something that I'm very cognizant about these days of knowing where my people are, and then constantly checking in with them and making sure there's anything I can do to support them.
Yeah, 100%. In fact, the best thing you can do is just build your email list, because that really is something that you own. And, we probably all remember, I don't know if it was a summer or if it's been a year, time flies by fast, but Facebook went down, right? And everybody kind of panicked, like, oh my God, Facebook.
I thought it was fantastic. I'm not going to lie to you. That was like the best couple hours of my life.
Freedom, right? I got to disconnect. I was forced to disconnect. Yeah, you just never know with the social platforms. I mean, we all use them and they're great. And I advise all my clients, go out, you can promote yourself, and you don't have to participate in paid ads to do it. And you can build a community, but they can be gone at any moment. They can, right now we're hearing about like Twitter, right? And Elon Musk just bought Twitter, and who's to say, right? If he's like, oh, I'm going to take it down. I mean, you just never know what could happen or what changes he decides to make. And as marketers, we're always dealing with algorithm changes. So, perhaps your reach, was, really good. And then all of a sudden there's an algorithm change, and now your reach, dropped, and you're hardly reaching anybody now. So you just can't, there's nothing you can do about any of that. So that's why building your list is great, because you get to talk one-on-one with each of your customers or prospects.
I'm curious. It's been around. You've heard of it from time to time, but I've seen that you have a huge interest in it, and you're learning every day. Like, what got you interested in the NFT space, and kind of even exploring it in the first place?
Yeah, so I know NFTs are so new, and we're all just learning every day, and it's changing every day. But I go back and think about, was it like the late 80s, early 90s, when the internet, right, first came out? And Gosh, I think people were like, "Oh, I don't know what this is. It's kind of scary." But look where we are today, right? We now carry the internet in our pockets with us everywhere we go. We're not anywhere without it. And so Web 3.0, there's a lot of conversation happening about that again. Like I'm still just trying to learn a lot about it. But the fact is, technology changes. It changes faster than it ever has before. And Web 3.0 is coming, and the metaverse is coming, and NFTs are coming. And I think it's one of those things of, I just want to explore it and understand it and get involved with it. And I know it's going to change and evolve over time, but it's coming, whether we like it or not. I mean, in fact, it's sort of here already because everybody is already talking about it. So it's just going to continue to create more and more awareness. And I think it's going to happen faster than it's ever been before. It'll be real interesting. We should have a conversation the same time next year and just see how much it's evolved or changed. Oh, I can't hear you. Oh, you're muted.
I said, I don't know about you. What's up, Mello? I don't know about you, but I spend most of my time in the real estate space. And part of the thing that I'm concerned about for builders, not really concerned because they're kind of mean, a lot of them, but the real estate space is stuck in the 1980s, right? And my question to you is, like, we needed COVID to come through to do Zoom closings. Like, we didn't know that was a good thing, like people are driving all, so like the greatest thing I ever heard from a big mentor of mine was everything that is happening now because of COVID, technology wise, was already coming. It just happened 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
And so I wonder how many entrepreneurs, small business owners, authors are saying, this is, I don't know what you're talking about. This is just a fad. And I wonder how many are going to, not that they're going to miss the boat, but, look, dude, I'm the same way. I was like, I don't invest in crypto. But what I came to the conclusion was as simple as this. There's too many smart people that I know that are in the space. I'm going to get in the space. And yeah, it can be uncomfortable. And yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, perfect example. We had our first meeting today with my team of coaches and my company that we're coaching who's in this space. And I told my guys on the call, I said, if you don't know what the word means, just write it down. I'll tell you later. And it's like, and they were like, sounds good. But like the basic premise was, these are great people that want to do great things. Let's move forward.
Yeah. It's, I think, like you said, it is sort of it's the world of unknown right now, but we're explorers. How exciting is that? That, we get to actually go out and, be the first on the frontier, and anyone can do it, right? And so, it's scary.
So I know we're going to be doing an NFT project together where you're handling the authors and everything. But just like I told you, and I just had the idea again, you, Patti, should be your own NFT too.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so maybe we have to talk about how to do that. Like, how do you become your own NFT?
Well, Mello knows more than I, but what's interesting is, here's what's interesting, and this is I'm just using my rudimentary understanding. Okay, so the content that you already have can be an NFT. Yes. So meaning the videos, the podcast covers and all that stuff, and then through that you can drop certain things, and then they'll get access. Like if you win, 1 out of 1,000, right? You'll get the access and stuff like that. But basically, a whitelist is how you sign up to be on the list to even buy in the first place. And sometimes you can only buy if you're on the whitelist. And so these are so interesting things, because really what I'm after is impact and engagement, right? So if I'm after impact and engagement, this is just another avenue for me. And I know what everybody's saying. Well, here we go again. Now I got to go to Discord. Now I got to go to Telegram. Now, it's like, but understanding that you have to, and this is my suggestion to every one of my clients, you have to find the one that works for you.
Yeah.
Like, full disclosure, no offense, LinkedIn's pretty stuffy for me. I'm not a fan. It's very boring. People call you out for every little thing. Instagram's my jam. Instagram and podcasts are my jam. So I stick there. I got, YouTube is out there too, but I found my space. And like, so you just have to kind of find your rhythm for your branding. Wouldn't you agree?
Of course, 100%. Yeah, I always tell my clients, like, go where your customers are, go where they're hanging out. And again, just as technology evolves over time, right? They may be hanging out on Facebook today, but platforms like TikTok and Instagram are growing significantly. And so you never know. Keep an eye on where they're going and where they're heading, and you do have to kind of look for trends. But yeah, people may decide to go to Discord, in the future because it's offering something that no other platform is. Uh, Something really interesting is TikTok is actually starting to take over YouTube. They're actually the first platform to really threaten YouTube. Mm-hmm. And they're now allowing longer form videos because they know this. And mm-hmm. so now YouTube is starting to pick up some of the same, mm-hmm. characteristics that TikTok had. We want that right now, where we are today, April 27, 2022. We like that short form content. That's where a lot of consumers are going. But that may not mean for every business owner that that's where your consumers are. But keep an eye on it because they might start to migrate over there if other bigger influencers are headed that way.
So we'll answer that in just a second. What's interesting, right, is my podcast producer is challenging me to go 15 seconds and below. And he's like, dude, we don't need the song and dance. Just tell us the thing, right? But what's interesting is what people don't understand about Gary V's a lot of people do, but not everybody. What Gary V is saying on TikTok is he's saying that they might be young now, but if they follow you for years, then they might become clients or services later, right? And that's what people are missing. They're like, well, I know, but it's just young. Well, they're working, you're working up the ladder. This is a long game, right? And so Mello, Patti, I'll let her speak for herself, but she is going to be working with us, and she's a strategist for authors for marketing, and she's going to be working with the authors to take their books and their content and turn them into NFTs. So the authors, right, Patti?
Yeah, I think for authors, I would love to be able at some point. So we're doing some of the research now, but really help them take their books and turn them into an NFT, right? Get into the NFT space, create, NFTs, those first edition NFTs, second edition, third edition, whatever it might be. And then really think about how we can now help you monetize. Because as we were talking earlier, if you're making $5 a book, it's just not enough. Mm-hmm. But let's say, you've got an NFT out there and you've attached a course to it, or a workshop or a digital download. That's really good, right? And that's the other thing too, is don't just put anything out there. Make it really good and super valuable. And now you can charge, instead of selling your book on Amazon for $15, why not sell the NFT for $250, right?
Oh yeah.
Because now you don't need to sell as many books. Now you
Mello, we were playing around when we had a meeting with, like, can you imagine being like a fictional author or like telling a story, and 5 NFT holders get a new ending to this book, like a Harry Potter or something like that. Yeah. Like it's wild, man. That would be like the craziest thing ever. And then people would freak out about it, and then you have to buy it. So you have to buy it on the second market to have access. It'd be a whole thing. So yeah, I mean, there's so many different options.
Or gosh, it would be so cool. Yeah. Leave your book with sort of a cliffhanger in a way. That's sort of what you're alluding to, Austin, is like, give it, like if it's a fictional book, give it a cliffhanger. And now you have to go buy the NFT to like get the ending.
Oh my God, dude. I can't even wait when they release series every, like when they damn release the billions every week. It drives me crazy. Just release the whole, I need to watch it, So yeah, I mean, and I think that's, me and Corey catch ourselves all the time. That's the biggest thing too, is like, there's so many opportunities, but it's just about nailing a couple ones first to kind of get your groove, to kind of adding on different ideas. But what I love about all this is it makes it available for so many people. And then it makes, I always tell the same story. I really do. And this is kind of why I bring it up. When Clubhouse was a thing and I lost 2 weeks of my life, literally couldn't get anything done. But long story short, I was in a room with a guy who had sold $1 billion worth of real estate. And I was in the room with another guy who had sold like $500 million. And so it's me and just these two guys who are my friends talking. Well, this kid who followed me on Instagram saw me, came in the room. There's only 4 people in the room. And he sat there for an hour and asked them questions about real estate. He's now on to his 5th investment property. And I was like, that was free. Yeah. That was free. You literally had guys that like, and that's what I think when you get that entity, you get that special thing in the community, you're getting to learn from these people that, you know, typically you wouldn't have access to.
Yeah. And that actually made me think of something else. So something really important in the author space is if you are an author thinking about becoming an author is you really want to be out there supporting other authors. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's so many easy ways to support other authors. Okay, you could buy their books, right? But you can actually like write reviews. I mean, reviews alone mean so much to an author and their books and the algorithms even. So you figure, you know, if we've got this community of authors and you're able to tell people like, I have a new book coming out in the series, or I'm a first-time author and it's my first book, why not get support from other authors who have been there for one? And now, you know, you've got this community of people to be like, okay, we're going to go buy your book. You know, you can price it for 99 cents for a week, the e-version on Amazon. And, you know, now everybody go buy my book and then review it, right? What if you could get like 50 or 100 reviews in like a couple days of your launch? That's huge. And it's unheard of unless, right, you're a Brene Brown or a Gary Vee or something like that, right? But for the average first-time author, it's so hard just to get 25 reviews within your first month.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. So if people want to follow your journey, they want to see what you're doing, they want to track you down, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah. So I'm mostly on Instagram, Patti Zorr at Patti Zorr, Patti. You can find me on pattizorr.com as well. And yeah, I think either one of those, you can find me somehow. There's a contact form on my website. You can DM me from Instagram, either way.
I love it. And I'm excited to explore this with you because, you know, authors, you know, a lot of people, I just want, there's good work out there, right? There's good work and we just need to get it in more people's hands. And I think the strategy that I've used and I live by is cross collaboration. And I think this is a great way to support that. Like the event that we're doing is for underprivileged kids and people that have been incarcerated. And they're giving out 250 school books, like bags of so a bag with school books and materials and like 5 different books in and stuff like that. And I just like, I can't wait to do stuff like that. My whole life is just like give people like, because really like in essence, I mean, you know, $13 books have changed my entire life.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? And so, you know, it's like, I think it's super powerful. So I'm very excited to see where this goes. And thank you for your time today and sharing some wisdom with everybody.
Me too. Thank you so much, Austin, for having me. I really appreciate it.
You got it, guys. Everybody, we'll see you next time. Have a good day.